Casino and gaming group Sun International has paid its first dividend in 6 years. Sun International, as you say, is part of the hospitality sector, which was one of the industries hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. But its first half results showing that people are heading to casino tables and hotels once again. Let's bring in Sun International South African CEO Anthony Leeming. Anthony, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can. My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, it's been a torrid few years, hasn't it? I mean, you had to go ahead and let off some staff. You temporarily closed certain areas. You had a rights issue out. But it's good to see you paying dividends again. What's the main driver of what we saw in the results today?
Look, I think it's been a really tough few years, as you say. And what we've seen in the last 6 months is really a bit of a COVID story where we re-looked at the business, we saved costs, and then our revenue is getting quite close back to 2019 levels. So when you look at it, we've improved our margins. Our margins up quite healthily, and that's resulted in strong cash flow. At this stage, our debt to EBITDA is at 2.6, and if we look forward, just annualize the first 6 months, we're going to be below 2 times, and that's a very positive position for the business to be in. Very strong balance sheet, and as you say, we've had the rights issue, and it's time now to pay shareholders back.
Yeah, I'm just worrying about the environment at the moment. I'm wondering, look, you had this inflation go on for months now. It's still there. Costs are rising, not just for how you run your business, your costs, but you're dealing with the consumer now because of that inflation has got all of this disposable income that's probably shrunk a bit, yet you see that gaming is somewhat on a recovery. People are going to the casino tables and so forth. How are you reading that?
Look, our casino income is still below 2019, so there is still room for further growth if the consumer comes back. So at this stage, a lot of our top-end customers aren't as impacted by inflation like the lower end. Certainly, they still have disposable income, and probably coming through COVID have done all right. So, yeah, we do see at the top end, business is still there. People still have money, and therefore we see further recovery in casino income coming forward. Yeah. And on the hotels and resort side, South Africa is a great destination for local leisure, so we are benefiting from that and a bounce back in corporate conferencing.
Yeah, well, let's just chat about that because I think that's quite interesting on the hotel leisure accommodations side, Anthony. We all know that was brutally slaughtered in the COVID months, the COVID years. And I see there's some very, very healthy bounce back over here, particularly when you look at, your destinations, particularly Sun City, which opens up for sporting events. What's your take on going forward as we approach this December holiday now? Are those restrictions way behind us now, or are we still feeling the effects?
No, the restrictions are well behind us. I think the biggest impact still is the international travel not back at full capacity. Certainly on conference, open to big conferencing, we've already hosted a number. And people want to get back together. They want the culture of the business. I mean, it's set at these conferences. People love being together, love having a bit of fun. And ultimately, that does help help companies build their culture. And so we've seen all the likes of all big conferencing literally taking over the resort for a few days and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned, international travel because perhaps some hospitality institutions more affected than others. You need to see people flying in from those traditional destinations, don't you, like they did a few years back. And that's going to be a big ticket if we're going to see some of these places really open up and make some money, I would imagine. Yeah,
and look, 100%. I mean, you look at the start of our year, we had Omicron and literally international travel was non-existent for January, February, and then started picking up. And at the moment, we're getting back to, I wouldn't say at levels yet at 2019. We're still behind on the international side. I think still reasonably well behind. But the business has performed because of the local leisure. So, yes, I think flights are coming back. We're becoming even cheaper. Our inflation rate is not at the 20s where they say in the UK is going. So we're only getting cheaper, and the exchange rate's still weak. So we're hoping for the longer term, it will be a very good destination to come for internationals.
Yeah, just very quickly as I let you go, quick sort of forecast for the December period, probably somewhat different from what we've seen over the last 3 years. What are you expecting?
Yeah, look, we're expecting a positive end to the year. I think conferencing business is looking good. Local leisure is building up quite nicely. And if you consider what we had in the last couple of years with Omicron coming in and all the cancellations, there's certainly a very positive end, we think, for the rest of this year and some strong growth from last year.
Oh, well, thanks very much indeed. Anthony Leeming, the CEO of Sun International. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us.